Baptists That Amish Chick. Let's get into it.
Have you ever wanted to find a spiritual mentor, but maybe you have no idea where to start or what to even look for? We've got the top 5 tips on what we even used to find our own spiritual mentors. And this can be translated across anything. This doesn't have to be with faith. I think a lot of these tips can be shifted and changed to different types of mentors that
for different
for
different areas of life, stuff like that.
It could be business, ministry, parenting, whatever it is. I think all of these are really great things. I think we've all had really not great mentors or people that called themselves mentors. We let people be mentors or even natural mentors. Sometimes our parents can be natural mentors. It doesn't mean they had the best advice for us always.
It's true.
And so we wanted to go over these things and things that have really helped us. A lot of these came from these attributes that we found in spiritual mentors in our life. But we've realized that these are things that we also need to look for in every other type of mentor in our life as well, including, business and all sorts of things. So the first one is, do you want to tell the first one? Because that was a big one you liked.
Yeah. So the first one, and it's funny, like I didn't know what a good mentor was until I had one. Like I didn't know what that looked like. And it was, for me, it was like, I would learn. I was like, oh, this is really healthy, or this is really good. And so it's almost like by experience is how I found what I want in a mentor. And I think really that's how most things work, is you like trial and error or whatever. But now you don't have to, which is great. So for me, someone who leverages who they are so you can grow. And that, for me, that means somebody who like shoulders you can stand on, who's genuinely, their only concern is like, I want to help you go as far as you were made to be. I want to help get out all of your potential that's inside of you. It's not about them. It has nothing to do with like what they'll benefit from you. They're constantly looking for ways to give you leverage or like a step up in life and like a hand up, not a hand out, but a hand up. And that just means like, hey, how can I help you get where you need to go? Or we're like, they see the greatness in you, they call it out. And then they're like, I'm going to do everything that I possibly can to help you get there, which is huge.
I love that. And it also goes along with, excuse me, them being okay and actually wanting you to go higher than them.
Yes.
It is not a mentor if they're like, whoa, you can't go above me, or if they start to get intimidated by it. Their goal should be, if they're a business mentor, they want you to make more money. They want you to have more sales. They want your business to be larger. They want your impact to be bigger. If it's spiritually, they want, when they end their life, they want you to already be ahead of where they are spiritually, already have a bigger connection, already moving forward faster. If parenting, to be a better parent, whatever it is, they should want you to be higher than what they are, and then to know that they got to play a role in that.
Yeah. And I think a true sign of that, a true sign of that is when they're comfortable asking you questions about learning from you. Like they want to learn from you as much as you want to learn from them. I just think that's the coolest thing. Like the fact that they're like, oh my gosh, I have something to learn from you, or like, you've surpassed me. That's amazing. Like, how can I learn from you? It's crazy and amazing because it's such an example of humility. And like, it's like in the being that mentor, they teach you so much than what they actually say sometimes, like their actions and the way that they like act. It's
And I think a really quick, easy way to even recognize that is if they have the narrative in the conversation of, I'm your covering, know that they're going to hold you down.
Yeah.
Because a covering is going to limit you. But if they're a foundation for you to jump off of,
like
that's
springboard,
they're going to be like it's going to give you leverage, and they're going to push you further and push you into your potential.
I love that. Number 2 that we have is that you should look for a mentor is someone that you can question and disagree with. If you have someone in your life that you call a mentor and you are like, oh, I disagree with that, and they get kind of their panties in a wad, or they get upset, or they're like, hey, this is the right answer. That's not a mentor. That shows it's not someone who goes along with number 1 that will leverage, you going higher, or using their influence to leverage you to go higher. That is someone who is actually trying to hold you down. So you should have someone as a mentor who they're like, hey, I actually disagree with you on that. And they're like, that's interesting. Why do you believe that? And they're like, and they know they can learn from you too. And they're like, wow, I want you to seek that out. I want you to look further. It's someone that just wants you to actually ask those questions and want you to actually be seeking, because that is part of a mentor, is them being like, I want you to know how to seek things out, not what to seek out, not to know what exactly is right, but
how to look for it.
Yeah. And to kind of just be there to help you skip over mistakes they made, or errors in life, or problems they had. But yeah, still allow you to disagree with them if you have a different opinion on something.
It's really amazing when a mentor can stop and go, oh, well, why do you believe that?
Not in a
One,
judgmental
so they
way.
can get their own understanding. And also, like, I do feel like mentors are really great when they ask why. If they don't ask why, I question the quality of mentor. Just gonna put that out there. But like, if I'm mentoring somebody, I want to know that they have an understanding of what they believe and what they're doing and why they're doing it, and no matter what it's about, right? And so asking that question, oh, why? Explain that to me a little more. It's also going to push you to really process through, like, hey, what do I believe and why do I believe this? Why do I think these things? And so one, it makes sure your brain is actually working and like closing all the circuits, like working full circle.
Yeah.
So you're not just blindly believing or going on things. So I think that question why from a mentor is huge.
Yeah. And like along with that, like they ask the question in a genuinely curious way, and they're not like, oh, well, why do you believe that? Like
not to trap you.
Yeah, not to trap you, but to actually help you work out the kinks of it. And like actually, you know, have your like, they challenge you in a good way to like challenge you to grow, you know. And I love that this second point, because I think they are without doing it like consciously or like out in the open or whatever. They are teaching you to trust yourself and showing you that, hey, I trust you. I trust what you believe. Like, I trust what you come up with. I trust your ability to search things out, to know things, right?
Yeah.
To come to your own conclusions, to your ability to like hear from God, because we're talking about spiritual mentors here, right? But I mean, this can apply to
It translates,
right? Like they're teaching you that to trust in yourself, because they're trusting in you maybe before you trust in you. And that might not always, like, that might not be the case always, but for a lot of us, at least for me, like the spiritual part of things, as a woman growing up Amish, I was like taught that, first of all, you're a woman, so you're inherently going to mess up because you're the first person who ate the apple in the garden. So like, you're going to be the person who, Leslie's twitching over here.
did. I felt that run down my spine. Ugh.
You don't like apples?
She hates apples, guys. She just hates religious apples. But like, you know, having that blow against me, and then it was like, and women are a lesser, like, they are the lesser gender because they're made to serve the man. So like, you can't be equal to them. You can be equal, but not equal in the like roles that you play, right? You have to like make sure that the man looks good at all times, at the expense of your own health. So like, spiritual matters were never, I was never allowed to like have a voice in that, because that was only for men. And like, you know, I was easily deceived. So, you know, you're easily deceived. If you go into spiritual things, you might be easily pulled in the wrong direction because, you know, you were easily deceived in the gardens. I'm like, I'm not even going to go into that. We're not talking about this, but so you can see how like having somebody who's like, hey, I trust you. You're really smart. You hear God well for yourself. And having the ability to have a mentor who I can question, not in an arrogant way, but just like, hey, I don't think that's like, I don't know that I agree with that. I think that there's more there, or there's something different there. And then being like, you know what? I love that you are like, look like searching this out, or, you know, like asking questions, and let me know what you find on that. That's huge for me. Like, holy crap. And for the mentor, the mentor I have is a guy who's like a spiritual father to me as well. Like everybody here knows who he is. And so, Dub, you guys saw it, Dub.
You'll know Dub.
Yeah, there's an episode on here with Dub.
Yeah. If you haven't watched it, go watch it. He's like a spiritual father for me, has done so much for me. And like, he's the first mentor in my life where I was like, I don't know that I actually agree with you. And he's like, that's cool. Why not? I'm curious. And like, I would find things and be like, oh my gosh, have you thought about this? And he's like, no, but that's amazing. And you should look into that. And I'm like, that was extremely healing for me as well.
I love that example you just gave, where it's not like he went, oh, that's amazing, let me go look it up and get back to you. Hey, you should look into that.
Yes.
So you can come back and teach me. Right?
Yes.
Like a good mentor is going to be open to that.
Yeah. Like they know that
it pulls the arrogance out of it. Like there's a lot of arrogant people who want to be mentors out there.
Yeah, like they want to be mentors because of the title, not because of the impact they'll have on people. They don't really want to have impact. They just want to be able to be like, oh, I'm a mentor. Okay, Karen. Anyway, I don't know.
So number 3, we have Leslie. You want to see number 3?
So I love that you had just mentioned a mentor will help you to trust yourself. Right. So the flip side of that is you need to make sure your mentor is somebody that you can trust, because your growth is on the other side of your vulnerability. And so find somebody that you can be vulnerable with and you trust in that, because you're not going to get the benefit if you don't trust them, because you're not going to be open. You're not going to really get to the heart of the issue or the root of the issue, or really be open enough to talk and explain things if you don't trust that person. Right. Trust is so important. And especially when you're asking, I'm going to say asking guidance, right? Like you're with a mentor so you can experience growth. And sometimes that needs guidance, but you also have to like be able to be vulnerable in a way that like you wouldn't be vulnerable in most situations, right? Like there's vulnerability, but then vulnerability for growth, I feel like is a whole different level.
Yes. Okay. So you just cracked that open, because I think another, like to expand on that or to add to what you just said, it's like you need the kind of vulnerability where you can mess up and try things out and question things and search things out, and it will never be judged or criticized. It will only be your effort. They will see your effort and they will celebrate. They will only celebrate and guide. And what I mean by guide is like, you're like figuring things out, right? They're like, oh, I love, like you're searching things out. And they're like, I love that. Like you're doing this. This is amazing. And like, you found this and this is amazing. These parts are awesome. I think that's great. But like, have you thought about searching into this part where they're like, there's something there that's not quite, like it's not quite fleshed out, or there's more there, or like, I don't know that I'd say that's necessarily true. Have you thought about looking at it from this direction? They're never like, that's wrong, you shouldn't do that. It's like they ask questions so that you actually search more to draw the things out of you. And like, they never make you feel bad for messing up or being like, I don't know actually, and I don't know where to look for this, or I don't know that I want to believe that, or, like wherever you're at in your journey, and they're completely okay with that. And they ask questions to help you find the answer, instead of telling you this is what you need to believe and why. And, that's not a place for vulnerability at all, first of all. But that's the kind of vulnerability that I love, like that I know that I have needed in order to actually, it's like they hold space for you to like mess up and do things and try, and they celebrate celebrate it. They don't it's not
like, well, I told you shouldn't have done that, but
right?
you did.
Yeah.
And I think I'm just gonna add this in now so I don't forget. This is like a 3.5 point is on our side of finding a good mentor is knowing how you receive things and not being an asshole.
Yes.
I'll throw in there, because to have a good mentor, you have to be a good mentee as well. And knowing that you're not going to come back and ask the same questions and not take your advice. And it shouldn't mean if you're getting a proper mentor based off these points we're saying, they're not going to be mad at you for trying things different ways. However, hearing their advice is important. Hearing what they say is important, and not coming back and asking the same questions again when they're like, I've already told you this.
Right. Or like they told you where to look for it,
Yeah.
and you just haven't done, like you haven't
Mhm.
actually.
Taking the advice. Yes.
Yeah.
Because a quality mentor, a lot of people are seeking them out, and a lot of
Mhm.
people want to be able to sit in the chair that you're in. And so you can blow it.
Yeah.
You can, because they're going to mentor someone who wants to receive from them. Not meaning wants to obey them, but someone who wants to receive and really learn and grow. Actually the same speed they're growing, even if you're not catching up to where they're at, right?
Right.
So that was just a note that I thought of as we're talking. I didn't want to forget to add that in, because it's a good 3.5. Number 3.5.
Yeah. And can I add something
Yeah,
else
go
real
ahead.
quick? So I think that a lot of mentees have or I should say from my experience, when I've had mentors in the past, is I would go into the like mentor-mentee relationship with a like, I'm lesser than you, I'm less than you.
Mhm.
And I would always have that mindset of like, I can never, I'm always one step behind them. Always. I will always be. And I don't think mentors want, like, I've found that, first of all, that my mindset around that has changed, because I now see everybody as my equal.
Mhm.
Like, I don't see anybody as more than or less than. We're just all equal on the same level, playing field. It's just like, and when you change your view on that, you go into that relationship knowing that you're equally as valuable, you're equally as smart and brilliant. You just need some help in figuring some things out. And like, you have a lot to learn from them. You do. And don't be an asshole and be humble. But also, you bring a lot to the table that they need, that they might not even be aware that they need. And when you come to that relationship that way, it changes everything. And I think a lot, like I've seen even mentors respond differently because I am operating differently. Like,
Yeah.
it actually makes them want to do even more for you because they know that you value you. They don't have to try to convince you of that.
Yeah.
And it's like, you're already ahead of the game just by that, by knowing that you're equal to them, but you might not know as much as them in certain areas. And that's why you're there.
I was going to say, it's literally like, I know I'm an equal and I can't wait to dig it out. Like, I can't wait to discover it about myself.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I was saying, going off from that, you just said you value you. Our point number 4 is someone who values you equally and values your insight. And so it needs to be able to be this relationship back and forth where it's not like a parent over a child in the ways that most of us have seen a parent over a child, right? I have control, I have the say, do what I say, not like a boss. It's someone who comes in, and when you have an opinion about something, they listen to that opinion because they go, they're also someone who's continually learning, right? So they know that you may carry something, you may have learned something they don't know yet. That you're in a different, maybe you're in a different generation than them. So life is different, ideas are different, concepts are different. You've had different life experiences than them. You have been around different people, you've learned different things. And so it's someone who has that value of knowing that, hey, I'm further ahead in business than you, or I'm further ahead spiritually than you, or I've raised kids and you're just getting started. They can know that your insight on things and your perspective that you have, because you're a different person who's lived a different life, has a high amount of value and can help them be better in different areas of their life too.
Yeah. That actually goes, like, I guess I kind of segued that into that.
You did. It was perfect.
And just my thing to add to that number 4 is, and it plays into this, is, do they have mentors? Do they know what it's like to be a mentee? I think that's super important for number 4, because they know what it's like to be in the position you're in. And when they, from experience, know that, they will know what you need. They will be, they're hungry and growing just as much as you're hungry and growing. And that makes number 4 possible, I think.
Yeah.
I do think like a mentor, somebody who's quality, isn't, and I think I actually already said this, but like, they're not going to be scared of questions. And they're also not going to be scared of like any value that you bring to the table,
Mhm.
because you want a mentor who is confident and solid in who they are.
Yeah.
Like there's a little bonus, there's
Mhm.
4.5.
Yeah.
Like you need somebody who's confident and
Yeah.
secure in who they are and what they bring to the table, because otherwise the advice you're going to get from them,
Yeah.
I would question,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
If they're not certain about it, what makes you certain on the advice they're giving? Are they certain about it?
Or if
Right?
they're going to act as though you're competition to them.
Yeah.
Because I was like, that happens a lot.
That's 4.75.
7.5.
We're
Yeah.
you're all getting bonuses in here.
Yeah.
Maybe it could have made this 10 points.
Right? Yeah, that's so true. Like, oh my gosh, I remember mentors who like I could feel like the competition and I didn't
Mhm.
think it was. And it actually stunts you from being able to learn from them.
What's
because
amazing
suddenly
the
you
way
like,
the advice even shifts.
yeah.
You can tell as soon as it clicks and like it's competition focused,
Mhm.
the advice is like, oh, I don't know if you should do that.
Mhm.
It starts
Yeah.
like really talking down versus like, hey, you can do this, you've got
Yeah.
this. Like,
Yeah.
It's not
Keep it
try and find out.
positive.
Yeah, it's not try it and find out, see what happens.
Right.
mhm.
And like I love a mentor who's like, I don't know. Like that's a really great
Mhm.
question. And I have no idea. Let me help you find it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it my turn?
Sure.
Yeah, number
Okay.
5.
Beliefs. Number 5 is beliefs are similar. Bleh. Beliefs are similarly aligned. However, they also let you come to your own conclusions and answers. That's so good.
Especially when that comes to things like faith. I mean, I say faith, even if it's in business, if you
Mhm.
have someone who is like, hey, I want to make sure this is changing God's kingdom,
Mhm.
or versus someone's like, just make as much money as you can. It's all about you. Like
Mhm.
there's going to be a difference. So making sure that there is some form of alignment. Now you don't have to make sure that, for example, in a business mentor, I'm just going to go there because I think it's fairly easy for us oftentimes to find a faith-based mentor that's similar to us because we hang out in the same circles, right?
Mhm.
But if you're looking for a business mentor or something, they don't have to have the complete exact things. Just you need to know their morals and values
Yeah.
are going the same direction as you,
Yeah.
right? You need to know that their goal isn't to try and like rip someone off
Right.
in order to make more money, that it's not to use someone,
Yeah.
it's not to use manipulation and hey, go over motivate them, you know,
Right.
for your own gain and things like that. So it's looking at things to make sure that your beliefs and your values and stuff and your morals have a good alignment there. So that you know you're moving the right direction. I mean, that's the way you're going to get the best advice anyways,
Yeah.
is that if you're aligned, because you can ask those questions, you can be vulnerable.
I
You
was gonna
can
say it
do
plays
these other
into those
things.
other points.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so like you can't, if you completely disagree on, you know, one person's like, make all the money, it's your money, go get it. And another person's like, hey, you know, we're going to make money, but we're going to make sure that they get solutions at the
So
same
make an
time.
impact too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be different. You're going to be have different levels of vulnerability. You're going to be able to ask more questions. You're going to be able to try things on your own and
Yeah.
all those things. So
Yeah. Like you're found the foundational things you
Mhm.
guys are on the same page with. Because if the foundation isn't on the same page, you're going to build very different things and you really won't be able to learn from them like you could because the thing is, like a mentor, the whole purpose of a mentor is they're going where you want to go, or they have been where you want to be, right? And for that to happen, there has to be similar or same foundational things, right? Because they're building something. They're like, whether it's spiritual, whether it's in business, whether it's in a relationship. So if you don't have the same foundation, you're going to end up with a very different product, and you're probably going to be disappointed because you realize that like you didn't even have the same core beliefs to begin with. And so it makes it really hard to learn from somebody if, you know, your core beliefs aren't aligned. And like core beliefs are like the big things, you know, like for me spiritually, core beliefs are like, what do you believe about God? What do you believe about humanity? And, you know, what do you believe about like what's going to happen in the future? Like end times, what a lot of Christians call end times, or like the end of the world, or whatever you want to call that. Like, what are your beliefs on those things? Those all really matter to me. And we have to be on the same page for me to be able to like learn from a person. Everything else can be like different. They can have like way different beliefs about how to execute things, or I don't like
Mhm.
whatever. There's a million ways that you could go with other things, but yeah. Anyway, do you have anything to add?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think that's good, guys. That's our top
Yeah.
5 points on how to find a great mentor.
Yeah.
If you have other tips, drop them in the comments. Things that
Yeah.
you have found to be really helpful, drop them in the comments here. Make sure you like and subscribe. We are in all the places as the Butterchurn Girls on social media. And we'll see you next time.
See ya.